The saying is that your home is your castle. But as crime and craziness starts increasing in the world, one of the things you want to do is protect your castle or your home. Hey, I'm Todd with Ready Your Future, and this is another edition of the 25 articles that every prepper should read. Now, this article is coming from my own website that I wrote this article many, many years ago. It's on Ed That Matters, and actually Ed That Matters is going through kind of a refresh, maybe. And so I've taken down a lot of my preparedness articles and I've moved them over to Ready Your Future, but they're not completely up yet. So what I did was I went to the Wayback Machine to bring it up so that I can go ahead and do this episode. So layering your house and layering the security in your house is a really big deal. And really, it is a preparedness strategy that I think we should do in a lot of things. So when we think about layering, you can layer your water, your water storage. You can layer your food storage. And basically that means that you have layers upon layers. Your first layer might be the things that, if we're talking about food storage, the things that are in your pantry that you just normally go to. The second layer might be, things that you have canned or things that you've put up in Mylar bags, things that are maybe bulk purchases, right? Then your third layer might be things that you have like dehydrated foods and things like that. And so same thing with water. Your water might be, hey, the first thing is the water that comes out of your tap. If you drink the water out of your tap. The next layer might be bottled water, things that you have there, big jugs of water, 5-gallon, things like that. Then you go to your third layer might be the way that you can purify, the different ways that you have to purify water. And so you build these layers in preparedness so that if it's that redundancy thing, if one thing fails, the other thing fails. When we're talking about home security, though, you're building these layers because you want the person that is going to try to break into your house or try to come in and do harm to look at your house and say, you know what, there's a lot of things that are there that are going to cause me to not want to go into that house, right? There's a lot of layers there that I need to go through. So let's go ahead and go over to the article here. And like I said, this is my article, and this is a very old version of the website on the Wayback Machine on archive.org. Anyway, one of the first things that I talk about is looking at being up to date with your neighborhood and knowing what kind of crime is going on. Right now we live in crazy times, and if you're busy and you're going to work and you've got things with the kids and you've got things going on, you're not always paying attention to maybe the crime that's going on. Now, of course, if you see police cars and things like that, yeah, you do, but if you're not really paying attention to what is going on around you, a lot of the time that stuff happens at night. Sometimes it doesn't get reported. Sometimes you don't even hear about it. And so one of the things that I recommend is going to a website called Crime Reports, and actually it has, I think City Protect has switched it out. But basically you can choose your. So this is a map of the United States, and you can drill down. And so every time you see a shield, basically that is an agency that is reporting. So if I'm going to go down to the Houston area, there's a couple of different agencies in the Houston area. There is Harris County, there is Headwood Village, which is kind of like a city inside of Houston. It's kind of like was taken, all the area around there was, I guess, eminent domain. But I just want to drill down on Houston, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and move down into Houston, and you see all these dots. They're yellow, they're red, and all the dots mean something a little bit different. And so if you continue to scroll down and you get in there, you click on one of these, you'll see that like the yellow is theft. And so I know that. And the thing is, you can drill down to, like, if you lived in this area, you could drill down and say, hey, what is going on here? So theft from vehicles, you can kind of see that. Here you see some red ones, and that is assault. And so if you lived in this area, man, just in this one little area right here, you would see quite a bit of things that were going on. And so there's different I guess, colors that mean different things, and you can easily look at the different things. I'm going to click on Harris County here because this kind of engulfs everything. And you know what? There's not a lot here. It doesn't look like Harris County has. Well, there it goes. Yeah. So I want to show you something though. This is dependent on the people that are the agencies that are reporting in. So I'm going to go over to Katy, which is a suburb of the Houston area, and you can see there's nothing around here. And you would think, oh my gosh, that's a safe place, right? I want to go there. And the fact is that the Katy area, they don't respond. And you can see this line right here. This is the Harris County line right here. They don't report into this website. And maybe they don't send it up to the federal agencies, which give it to this website or not. There's one here that I guess if I drill down a little bit, I would see, what is this? This is other property crime, but there's nothing like I know that would be in Katy. So the red stands for violent, yellow or gold property and theft, purple disorder or disturbance, and then blue is 911 or other. And there's just not a lot here in this one, but you can drill down on yours. And so I'm going to zoom back out again, and you can kind of see maybe where you are in the United States, and you could drill down and find out what it's like in your area. All right, so let's just talk a little bit about your home security then. And the layers in your home. The first thing is the front door. You want to make sure your front door is, if that's one of your first layers, you want to make sure that it's nice and locked. One of the easiest things you can do is make sure you go and you lock it, every night, or you lock it when you come in. And that's kind of like a no-brainer. I know like people were raised back in the day where you didn't lock the door all the time, it stayed open, but nowadays you might want to think twice about that, especially where you live. So definitely the front door. You want to make sure, you've always heard about reinforcing the door jambs, putting in some really long screws, maybe those 4-inch screws, so that they really go down deep. So if someone wanted to kick it in, they're not just kicking in like a 1/2 inch or a 1-inch screw. They're really having to work hard to do that. So some people might even want to put a security door bar on there. Remember back in the day when car alarms and all those kinds of things were getting started, and they had the club where you could put that on your steering wheel, and basically, if you didn't have the key, there's no way you're going to saw it off. It was just such a big piece of steel. And so if you tried to start the car, you weren't going to be able to drive it. But there's security door bars that you can put in place, so even if they're kicking it, it's really going to reinforce that. You can put a layer on your windows. You have your windows there, but do you have the locks that you can make sure that if they try to slide the window to the side or up, then it's going to hit and it's not going to be as easy. Now they can always break the window, but that's going to be loud, and so that's going to be one thing that a true criminal who wants to get in and out is not going to do, because they don't want to draw attention to themselves. Dogs are a big deal. Even if it's a small dog that is going to raise the alarm, is going to bark when there's people around. I love the idea of having dogs, and the idea that a lot of the times, even when we had the smaller dogs in the house, that when they felt someone was in the front of the house, they heard a car door slam or something, even when we couldn't hear it, they were always up and moving towards the door. And so I think that's a great little alarm for you to be able to know what is happening in your around your house. That's a great layer. Another layer is outside lights. Nowadays, with how cheap they are, having motion sensor lights, it's really one of those things that you should consider. You also have the cameras and the alarms that you can put in. I don't put a lot of stock in the alarms that are monitored and they call out someone. That has never worked for us. We've never needed it, but we've always it's been false alarms and things like that. But it's more about making the sound and then the awareness that they're there. And nowadays you can see things on your phone when people are there. From work, I can see if someone goes into my backyard or someone's in my front yard or a package is delivered. And so there's all different kinds of alarm systems that you can do to put that in there. And some are, some you combine those with the outside lights. Mine has a light that it will see in the dark. Without turning on that light, but for sure it is going to turn on that light. And so if someone is wanting to come up to your vehicle and you have one of those lights, at night, and it comes on, they're going to think that maybe, you're awake and you're coming out there. And so I think that's a great addition, a great layer. Outside landscaping. We've always talked about this in the preparedness community, is like outside of windows, put some thorny bushes there. And so that makes it really easy for you to to keep the criminals out of that window. I mean, who wants to get all torn up and stuff like that? Ultimately, if you have a safe room, if someone was to get in and you want it to be safe, you could bring everybody into a safe room. So you can do that. You can easily reinforce a room, and you can look into that. I really do think that maybe even before you do that, you want to think about personal self-defense and what would that entail, because there's going to be some people, some criminals that don't care about all those layers, especially if they're on drugs, if they're there's a purpose, like, hey, I'm going in there no matter what. You need to think about personal self-defense and what that would look like. Everyone's going to take it to a certain level, but I think you can have different layers there as well. You want to be involved with your neighborhood watch, because if you're involved with your neighborhood watch, or get one started, because then you're really hearing about the things that are going on in the neighborhood. That's a great layer. Another layer would be your neighbors. Like, get to know your neighbors, have them looking out. Everybody has that neighbor that is kind of like the looky-loo, get to know them, and stay on good terms with them, so that they can let you know what's going on, and give them your phone number and let them, hey, if something goes down, give me a call. On the other hand, in your neighborhood, if there's a Facebook page or a Nextdoor page, you might want to go ahead and link up with that. And you're going to have to deal with all the junk that goes on social media, but it does give you insight to what's going on in your neighborhood. And I find them highly, highly valuable. I just don't pay attention to all the other crap that's on there, right? I just get the stuff that I need. If there's street lights in your area and they're out, don't hesitate to call. Find the phone number that you need to call to be able to tell the county or whoever is managing those, hey, we have a street light out. Other people would notice it as well, but everybody thinks everybody else is going to send that phone call in, and a lot of the times it's not that difficult to do. It's not that difficult to call, and then sometimes it's just a recorded message, and you just let people know, and they'll come out and fix that. Don't underestimate the power of signs. If you have a big wooden fence in the backyard, putting up "Beware of Dog," that might deter people. That's another layer. Putting out the security signs, you got to make sure. I had an old security sign in my front yard, and for instance, ADT back in the day when we moved into this house, and I never really switched it out. But the thing is, ADT is not even around anymore. So somebody pointed that out to me. I just wasn't even thinking about that. But that's something that you could, put a sign out that, hey, this sign, or that, there's cameras out, or, we're watching, or whatever, it's monitored by this alarm system. I think Simply Safe sends out little stickers that you can put out. And so that might be something you want to do. Some other things that you could do to keep your home safe, especially if you're on vacation, is if you're leaving, let the neighbors know that you're leaving. Maybe give them some contact numbers, and then ask them to pick up your newspaper. If you're getting your newspaper, or your trash cans are out, or things like that, ask them to put that back for you, and let them know you'll return the favor when they go out of town. If you have a fence and it is one of those that swings in and out, make sure that it has a self-locking mechanism. So that, when one of your kids maybe opens it up, then it'll swing back and it'll lock. And that is one of those important things to do. That way, it's another layer there. Be careful what your trash says. So when you put trash out and you're getting boxes with new laptops or new TVs or things that might be valuable to someone trying to make a quick buck, put that in one of the big contractor bags, or rip it up, or whatever it might be. Don't just put that out there for everyone to see that is traveling your neighborhood. So you want to be careful about what your trash says whenever you're putting the trash out there. Well, there's a lot of other layers that you can do, and I'd really like to hear about layers that maybe you have applied in your in your home. So you can always leave a note for me down in the video below, and let me know what you've done in your home to help to build layers into your home, or even into your preparedness. That's always great to be able to share and get other ideas from other people. All right, everyone. Hey, like I said, this is from the 25 articles that everyone should read. If you're interested in those 25 articles, I'm going to have a link in the description so that you can go sign up and get that PDF, and you can go check these out. They are articles that have been around for a long time, but they're very, very valuable, and I think they would be very valuable for you. That's all for this episode. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. God bless you. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.